The AI Week in Review, April 22, 2026. Xuan Di Lam, An Xiaobir, The AI Signal. Episode 4. This week in AI, Anthropic now wants your passport and a selfie just to use Claude. A startup that doesn't even have a product yet just raised $500 million. OpenAI is charging advertisers up to $5 per click inside ChatGPT, and an AI data center might be going to space. I'm the AI Signal, cutting through the noise. Let's get into it. The biggest story this week hit every developer and AI power user at once. Anthropic started requiring government-issued photo IDs and live selfies to use Claude. No warning, no opt-out for those who got flagged. Here's how it works. If you trigger Anthropic's system, whether through suspicious activity, accessing restricted features, or connecting from a flagged region, you're prompted to hold up your passport or driver's license and take a live selfie. A third-party company called Persona handles the verification. The whole process takes less than 5 minutes, but the backlash has been enormous. Claude is the first major AI chatbot to require this. ChatGPT doesn't ask for your ID, Gemini doesn't ask for your ID. Critics are saying Anthropic just handed its competitors a gift. But here's why Anthropic did it. The verification targets 4 groups: people violating usage policies, users from countries where Claude isn't officially available, like China, Russia, and North Korea, accounts flagged for potential fraud, and anyone under 18. This is about national security and compliance. The US government has been pressuring AI labs to prevent adversary nations from accessing frontier models, and Anthropic is responding directly. The impact in China has been massive. Chinese developers heavily rely on Claude and Claude Code because they're widely considered the best coding AI tools available. But China-issued national ID cards aren't accepted, only passports. Millions of users without passports are effectively locked out. A black market for Claude access has already sprung up, with vendors in China scrambling to sell workarounds. This is a genuinely difficult situation. Anthropic built its brand on safety and privacy. Now the same company is collecting passport photos. Whether this is responsible security or surveillance, overreach depends entirely on where you're standing. Now, for the second biggest story. OpenAI has turned on cost-per-click advertising inside ChatGPT. Advertisers are paying between $3 and $5 per click. Think about that number. Google search ads average about $2 per click. OpenAI is charging a premium because they believe AI conversations drive higher intent actions than search queries. This is the beginning of the ChatGPT ad economy. With 900 million weekly users, even a small percentage clicking on ads represents billions in potential revenue. Combined with the 100 million they already made from their initial ad pilot, advertising could become OpenAI's second largest revenue stream behind subscriptions. But there's a tension here. The moment ads appear inside an AI conversation, every answer becomes suspect. When Claude tells you to try a product, is that a genuine recommendation or a paid placement? OpenAI needs to navigate this very carefully, because trust is the only real currency AI assistants have. Let's rapid fire through 3 more stories. Number 1, a company called Recursive Superintelligence just raised $500 million at a $4 billion valuation. Their AI concept is still at the research stage. They don't have a commercial product. This is a research stage company raising $500 million on a vision. Google Ventures led the round with Nvidia following. When investors are writing checks this large for companies with no product, it tells you either the potential is truly massive or the bubble is truly insane. Possibly both. Number 2. Orbital has set a date for its first test mission to put AI data centers in low Earth orbit, space-based data centers. The logic is actually sound. Unlimited solar power, natural cooling in the vacuum of space, and no land use conflicts. The engineering challenges are staggering, but the economics of powering AI data centers on Earth are getting so extreme that space is starting to look rational by comparison. AI's energy demands are literally pushing compute off planet. Number 3, Moonshot AI released Kimi K2.6, and it's now the top-performing open-source model on several major benchmarks, including a 54.0 on humanity's last exam with tools, which is the hardest AI test ever created. It comes in 4 variants: Instant, Thinking, Agent, and Agent Swarm. the agent swarm mode is particularly interesting. It coordinates multiple AI agents working together on complex tasks. Chinese AI labs are not slowing down, they're competing at the absolute frontier, and they're releasing everything as open source. That dynamic makes Anthropic's ID restrictions even more strategically significant. Now for the tool of the week. This week it's OpenAI Codex, which just shipped a major update. The highlight is a standalone installer that works properly on Windows and Intel Macs now, which fixes a bunch of issues that frustrated developers. But the real upgrade is the new features. You can now open side conversations while your main task is running. Quick questions without interrupting your workflow. Plan mode lets you map out an entire implementation before writing a single line of code, and it shows you exactly how much of your context window you're using. There's also a new plugin marketplace with tabbed browsing, inline toggles, and support for remote plugin sources. If you write code and you haven't tried Codex recently, this update is worth revisiting. The plan then implement workflow is genuinely useful for complex projects. Now for the signal. One pattern connecting everything this week. The theme is borders. Every major story this week is about drawing a line. Anthropic drew a border around who can access its AI, using passports as the checkpoint. OpenAI drew a border between organic recommendations and paid placements, and now every user has to wonder which side of that line an answer falls on. Investors are drawing borders between companies with products and companies with visions, and right now, they're pouring money on both sides. And Orbital wants to draw an entirely new border by moving compute infrastructure off the planet itself. AI is no longer a technology story. It's a geopolitics story, an economic story, and increasingly a geography story. The question is no longer what AI can do. It's who gets to use it, who pays for it, and where it lives. That's the signal this week. Subscribe at T-Signal, and I'll see you next Wednesday.